Welcome to the Knighthood Podcast, a comprehensive weekly analysis of the Newcastle Knights 2024 NRL season, brought to you by Michael and James. So fire up and let's go. 3 wins in a row, James. Are you fired up?
Mate, I'm fired up, pumped up. I'm always glad to be here and talk about the Knights, but it's even better when they win. So yeah, really look forward to diving into all the stuff tonight.
So we're moving into round 11 and we've got a bye coming up. So how are you feeling? You need the bye?
I'm actually a couple of weeks back I was feeling a bit tired, but no, I'm good. I'm sort of coming into the bye nice and strong. So what about you?
Good. I've had a busy year with work and with the pod as well. It's been a challenge doing it week on week and building the format and putting it all together and learning all these new things. So it's been a good challenge and we've been up for it and it's producing good results. So I'm really happy with that. And I won't say no to a bye round. And looking forward to the magic round this week against the my mind's gone blank. The Titans. That's right.
Yeah.
So well, look, we're coming off 3 wins, and the big question is tonight: can we go into the bye 6 wins and 5 losses, and maybe they're up there a magic round? It's a Saturday night. Are they going to go out and have a good one after it to celebrate? What do you
hope
reckon?
so? Oh, mate, I hope they go up there and really put in a great performance. And I mean, off the back of the form, they should beat the Titans. Titans have got a lot of injuries. We should win this, but you never know. They're a fast team. They can score points. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens.
Yep, I said it last week or the week before that this was last week. This match actually, out of all the next few matches coming up, is the most concerning one to me. I think the style of play that the Titans might bring for this could concern us, and we'll get into that as we preview the match coming up. And it will be explained then. So look, let's get into it. We're going to jump into the. We'll just change this over. The Knights 2024 NRL season, round 10 review and round 11 preview. So we'll run over the round 10, do the review, run through the Knighthood Player of the Year 3-2-1 update. We'll run over the NRL adjusted ladder, which is looking better for the Knights at the minute. 2024 pass or fail for the season. We'll run through that quickly. Then we're going to have a look at the run home in terms of the matches that are coming up for the rest of the season and where we stand as a club and as a team. Then getting into round 11, run over our usual segments, injury and suspensions, do the full strength ratings, and then get into the teams list, check out who the ref is, check out what the weather's going to be like, do a final analysis, a sum up, and then run over our Top Sport betting tally, which you don't want to miss that one tonight. We're killing it at the minute, and not to be cocky or anything, but we were aiming for 25% return on investment for the season, and after 10 rounds, that's pretty much where we're at, spot on. So that's great. Runs are on the board, and stay tuned and let's see if there's going to be a bet for this week going into Magic Round. And that's where we will wrap it up with our tips at the end. So look, let's get into the review, James. Round 10, Knights 20, Tigers 14. Great win. We overcame some adversity with players shuffling around, and not that the Tigers didn't have that too. They also had some issues. I thought the ref kind of brought the Tigers into the match towards the end with some, pretty interesting calls, but that's the way it goes. Sometimes it goes good, sometimes it goes bad. Overall, what did you think? We scored 4 tries to 3, and we got the chocolates. So just overall, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was a really solid performance again. Once I saw that there was going to be some rain around again, that made me feel comfortable. This was another game where I actually felt similar to the Warriors game. I was feeling quite comfortable at times during the game. Obviously, there were some moments when I was more in the first half when we were quite dominant at times, couldn't get the points on the board, and then the Tigers went out to
Yeah.
6-0 lead, and I thought, oh, that could go either way, but we stuck to the plan of what we have been doing and what's been working, and yeah, they're really in this grinding style of footy at the moment, and they're doing it really well, and yeah, it was a really good victory.
If the Knights, let's run a hypothetical. If the Knights were behind by 12 against the Tigers, do you think we would have won?
I don't think so. I think we're playing. I'm not seeing a lot of points in us at the moment.
Yep.
But there was no panic when we went down 6-0, and that try was pretty. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was soft, but it was on the soft side of things.
Yep.
And it was one of the first times that Tigers actually got down there, because prior to that we were sort of on their line and in their area quite a bit. But no, once we got to 8-6 at halftime, I was pretty confident.
Okay. Well, it's just an interesting thought because we've got to obviously make a call for this week. And one of the things that I'm a little bit concerned about is if the Knights get behind, how they're going to handle that. I mean, 6 points is one try, but, what if the Titans come out and throw the ball around and, get a couple of tries ahead, which happens a lot this season. I've actually seen happen. And then we do see that I've seen a few matches where teams have got out by like 12-0, 10-0, and then the other teams come back. So I've got a question mark on whether this Knight side will be able to come back from any more than sort of 1 or 2 tries down.
And that's the thing. Our style and plan at the moment is working when things are going the way we want them to go. We haven't faced that real, attacking flair or a team blowing us away early. So yeah, time will tell.
It could happen. So yeah. Anyway, look, let's whip through this. So in terms of the match stats, we basically won the possession 52-48. We won't go through everything stat by stat, but essentially we won here. We won the time in possession. Our completion rate was 85%. Tigers was also pretty good, around 80%. We outran them by about 300 meters of 1,800 running meters. I've got a little stat down here. Sorry, I just have to wait for this thing to disappear. Okay, offloads, Knights was 6, Tigers was 6. So surprisingly, actually looking at that stat, I thought there was a little bit more offloading going on with the Tigers, but it doesn't look like that went on the stats. Average set distance was 5 meters better than the Tigers, and then we run through the kicking. It was pretty even, but the Tigers did have a slight edge there with their kicking game. Our kick defusal was down a little bit this week at 7%. Nothing else is really sticking out at me too much here. I mean, our effective tackle was slightly better than the Tigers, 88% to 86. We made slightly less tackles at 333 compared to their 356. Our missed tackles was 32 to their 35. So look, across the board, we probably edged the Tigers out on the stats, and that's how it leveled out on the scoreboard as well. Errors was 8 to the Knights, 9 to the Tigers. Penalties conceded. Once again, I got to give the boys a rap. Their discipline this year has been really good, and we seem to be on the better side of the penalty count pretty much every week from memory, going through the stats. Maybe not every single week, but most weeks we have won and been disciplined. So that's definitely something that they've been working at as a team, because that doesn't just happen consistently for no reason. So good on them.
Yeah.
That's a great thing, having that discipline, and our ball control's got a lot better. And this style of footy that they're playing requires that, but it's working.
Yep.
Any stats there stand out to you, mate?
Not really. When I went through them, the other day actually, and I was pretty. From what I was seeing in the game, it seemed to add up. We were rolling down the field pretty well, and we seemed to make quite a few more meters than them. But overall, it was pretty, nothing outstanding or sort of overly negative there for us. That's for sure.
Yeah, look, it's good now. We're getting a bit of a feel for this team without Ponga. The runs are on the board 3 matches. That we know the Knights style, and I've raised the question: can the Knights, if they get a bit behind, have they got the attack in them to be able to turn that around, a bit of a deficit? But if they continue to start matches well, which they have been doing really, really good, and maybe get themselves slightly in front, or keep it in a kind of grinding style of match, then more likely than not we're going to be getting the chocolates again this week. So I've got a little segment here, player standout stats. So we'll have a look at some player stuff. The back five for the Knights were outstanding. They ran for 869 meters. Best was at 235 meters as the leader out of the back five. And I've got a comment there that he monstered them in the second half. What do you think there, James?
Yeah, I agree. He was fantastic. Best game of the
Yeah.
year for him. Good timing for him. You know, there's a lot of talk about him with the Blues, but we won't go into that. But yeah, he had a great game, and yeah, it's good to see him continue.
He's been
he's been solid.
Yeah, he's been consistent, and he's done a lot of the hard yards this year, and not the flashy stuff. So the flashy stuff gets noticed when it happens, like last weekend. But I would say Best has been definitely one of our most consistent players, and I've definitely noted that he's been making more effort plays this year, which is an evolution of his game.
Yep.
The middles, they struggled to get over 100 meters. Actually, DSAF was the only one at 104 meters, and then I thought Frizzell looked good when he was in the middle. When they shuffled things around a bit in the bench, and he made 136 running meters. Lucas also ran for 155 meters. Another consistent performance. You talk about consistent players. There's not many more consistent than Dylan Lucas. He's really aimed up this year for us, which has been great.
Yep.
Brayley made 49 tackles. Tawala made 3 errors, and DSAF gave away 3 infringements. So just a couple of little standout stats there. Nothing too major to worry about. Okay, the round 10 press conference. We've got some notes here that O'Brien basically said that you'll take the win, bank the 2 points, and enjoy the bus trip home. He said that there were some moments good and not so good, and they lacked a little bit of discipline in his eyes. Thought that the Tigers defended their own line really well. And he thought, this is a comment that concerns me. He thought that we did not treat them with respect. So there is there's a little bit of overconfidence, I think, within the squad. And this is, I think, why we had a couple of losses early in the season. I think they were overconfident and they wanted to play a style of attacking footy rather than sort of grinding it out and playing like they are now. And that comment there concerns me leading into this match. What's going to happen when the Titans, the under strength, and the Knights know it, and they're coming into a bye? Is complacency going to be an issue? Let's. What do you think, James? Is that something that you think is definitely a concern, or you don't think so?
No, I agree. It's a big worry. It's something I've been thinking about.
Okay.
If we drop games, we tend to drop ones that we should win, and usually it is off the back of complacency. And this game we should win on paper, but you don't know what's going to happen with the Titans.
Out of any match this year, this is the one that you'd say that we should win, and the odds are suggesting that as well when we get to that later.
But we said that against the Dogs, then they put in a stinker. So,
well, there was definitely circumstances behind that one with Ponga. Obviously losing Ponga in the fashion that we did, it was a bit, the team didn't respond well at all. They didn't turn up that day. It was, that's probably going to be our worst game of the year, hopefully. So, yeah, look at. Without getting into too much analysis, let's. I just think that's something that we definitely need to keep in mind moving into the preview. It's something that is definitely in the back of my mind right now and makes me a little bit nervous. So, anyway, that's and this triggered it. O'Brien's sort of comment here in the conference that there definitely is something there with the mentality of the side, and I'm just hoping that they keep level-headed and wait till party until this match is over and they've got the 2 points in the bank. Our attack was better in the second half, he said, as compared to the first half, but they definitely finished the first half strong there. A great little grubber from Gay Guy with 10 seconds to go, and that was pretty much a match-winning play. Scoring tries before halftime always has a good impact on a side going into the second half, and Armstrong was great. He made that comment, and Brayley agreed, and Best was the man of the match. He thought obviously that was pretty clear cut to most people who saw this match. And Gamble broke his foot. The team is building resilience, and it was a gritty and tough win. And the start of the season, there's been a run of 11 matches. So that's a pretty long run into a bye, more than most teams have had to do. And it's that's a tough slog now. We've got our home run segment coming up soon, and stay tuned for that because you're going to see how many matches are coming up in between buys, and it's definitely not 11. That's the longest streak that we'll have all year, and we're currently 5 from 5, and we're looking to go 6 from 5 into a bye with everything that's happened with Ponga being out, and the attack struggling a bit, and the mentality of the side not great at the start of the season, getting it a bit wrong. They've done a great job to level things out, and if we can move in at 6 from 5 into the bye, I would say that's we'd all take that start considering Ponga is out.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's great how they turn it around.
Yeah, 100%. So anyway, it's 11 straight matches. It's a tough start to the year, and now we've really set up an opportunity to be in the top 8, and who knows how far they can go. It's a very tight comp, and we're going to get into that when we look at the adjusted ladder and when we take out the buys and we get a really good view of where we're actually sitting. Brayley also made one comment. He just said that the boys enjoy playing in Tamworth, so they go and do their preseason there. And look, I hope they enjoyed the bus trip home at a couple of sherbets. All right, James, you want to get into your final analysis for the match?
Yeah, my first point. Very solid start from both sides with the Knights dominating early field position, but conceded the first try. So that first try, I was a bit, like I said before, it wasn't heaps soft, but it was on that soft side. But the boys bounced back after that and didn't let it sort of get to their head or go to their head. Second point, the Knights continued their no-nonsense style of footy that has worked for them. They seem to be enjoying playing a simple and tough style of play at the moment, and you have to. Like you got to really love getting into that arm wrestle and just kicking and chasing and just tackling and really grinding it out wins, and they seem to be just loving it at the moment. But my next point, the Knights outside backs proved dangerous for the Tigers, culminating long range try to David Armstrong. Best made that break. It's good to see them that they've got that in them because we haven't really scored a whole heap of long range stuff this year. It's been more based in opposition 20s and stuff like that. So
I think Best also bombed. He made a break in I think it was the first half, and he bombed one.
He didn't draw him, did he? He sort of
his draw pass is not great, and even that second one when Armstrong scored, it was a bit iffy. He
doesn't look natural.
It's not. You'd think at his level, his draw pass would just be money for jam, but it's not.
That's just basic stuff you learn at
look at Wolves. Yeah, you'd hope so.
Yeah. All right.
You got to kind of take the player in the direction that you want, and then to set it up, obviously. And I'm not seeing that. Like he kind of gets a bit confused in regards to the other player and where he should be running, and not giving the other players, like making space for the other players. So look,
and the thing is, he's a pretty quick guy. Like I'd rather him sometimes just back himself. Have a crack.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's got too much time to think, and he kind of he gets a little bit scrambled, baffled. So
he's playing great, but he's got to work on his draw and pass.
Got to work on his draw and pass. That's it.
Absolutely. Final point. Despite being down a player in the final 10 minutes, the Knights' defensive result was great. I thought they handled that period really well. Obviously when it got to 20-14, I thought, oh no, but that was pretty late, and they handled that period really well, I thought.
I never thought it was in doubt.
No. Another tough victory, but I thought the Knights looked to be in control most of the time. Like I didn't feel like they were going to bomb that.
I'd agree with that. My analysis was great to get 3 wins in a row and grinding style of footy, and the Tigers, I think they turned up. Both teams completed 10 sets at the start of the match, and congratulations to both teams. They turned up and played a good style of footy, and they definitely both turned up and aimed up and definitely tried to win the match. So good on Benji. The efforts there from his side. They're just lacking some players, and we when we went through our analysis last week, we saw that we definitely had a clear edge in our backs and forwards. And I guess at the end of the day, that's how it played out. So I thought that they adapted well when they lost Gamble. And we remember we went the whole second half without him, and Crossland came in, and there was even more reshuffling around after that. So, we handled that really well. And I thought there was some tough calls from the ref, and I thought the DSAF sin bin personally, and I think he's actually been suspended, hasn't he? So
what happened to the guy with the trip? They never mentioned the trip, did they?
Mate,
that's an absolute send off back in the day.
Well, what's going on? Like, it's a clear trip. Is that not a sin bin now? I googled it and tried to find out what the definition is, and I couldn't really get a clear. I didn't look into it too hard, but I couldn't see a clear definition. I think it's a bit of discretion from the ref, but
it's crazy though, because I mean, I don't want to be one of those old guys who goes,
rubbish.
"Oh, back in my day," but like they used to be like one of the most disgusting things to do on a footy field. You know, tripping someone.
Well, what's happened? But why all of a sudden you're allowed to trip players and it's just an infringement, just a penalty? Like,
no idea.
It's got a high risk of injury.
Absolutely.
And it's just it's just a cheap thing.
Well, okay, you see that, and that's what happened on the weekend. Had more chance of injuring someone than some of these little, when they've been kicking and they might slightly clip the player's leg, and then it's cost the team a game. Like I see the trip as way more dangerous.
Well, could you go as far as saying, did that stop us scoring the try? Because if he didn't put his foot out there and touch the player and interfere, he was through, right?
Yeah.
And, these Muppet commentators, once again, they don't call what they see in front of them, and they're always got their agenda and run off on their rants. And why didn't they discuss that? Like, it's a clear 10 in the bin, minimum. It's not a send off.
Yeah, minimum.
It wasn't. If he contacted his leg with force, it's send off. But the act of trying to trip a player should be 10 minutes in the bin. Yeah. But anyway, let's not get too fired up over the refs. I'm feeling pretty chill tonight, so I will get fired up if I start talking about the refs too much. So, look, I thought there were some tough calls there, and I thought we handled them pretty well. And overall, Ziggy wasn't too bad, but yeah, some pretty ordinary calls, especially in the second half towards the end, in my opinion. The back five we mentioned before were outstanding, ran for plenty of meters, and I thought we did a good job to come back from 6-0. And the try before halftime was critical. Look, I don't think the Knights handle teams when they offload and things become unstructured. And that's another thing that leads me to be concerned this week against the Titans, especially an understrength Titans with Des Hasler. Is he going to come out and roll the dice? And is he going to say, guys, let's just play attacking style of footy? I think if you play that style of footy, there's a chance that, they might stop us and we might make some errors and they might win the match. But our best chance of winning this match today is going to be to come out and throw the ball around and see, roll the dice. What do you reckon?
I reckon that's absolutely what's going to happen. And, I've been watching the Titans a bit the last 6 weeks or whatever.
Yep.
They've looked really good. Even they haven't won, they lost quite a few games, but they had a horrendous start to the season, but he's got them actually playing really well, but not winning. They won on the weekend, but I'm quite concerned about this game this week, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because we're both kind of feeling like that, and I guess we've had a pretty good run with our tipping and our betting stats and stuff are now looking really good, and I guess we're in a position where we can be a little bit hesitant. And, I guess one of the worst things you want to do if you don't want to get overconfident when you're tipping and placing bets and things. And, now we're 3 in a row. I'm seeing some red flags and some things to kind of, rather than being, cocky and thinking, oh, God, the Titans are all decimated in injury and, we're on a roll and we're going in the right direction. I'm kind of starting to feel like maybe it could potentially go the other way. I hope it doesn't, and we'll see what happens. But we've got some things to have a look at, some stats that I think the Titans, the completion rate's quite high. When I went over and had a look at the stats over the last 6 weeks, 6 weeks,
yeah,
and their defense has actually been, the defensive stats are pretty good as well. So they definitely have been playing well without winning every match, but they got the win over the Cowboys, who are an attacking team, and held on there with some clutch plays. So look, it's not going to be an easy walk in the park in Magic Round this week.
No way.
Okay, 3-2-1. Who did you give 3-2-1 to this week, mate?
Yeah, my player for the Knights, best player for the Knights was Bradman Best. That was pretty simple for me. I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier that he's seems to have lifted to a new level when it comes to like effort plays this year. He's doing some stuff behind the scenes that a lot of people don't really notice. But I think he made over 200 and something meters as well.
Okay.
Couple of breaks. He's I thought he well deserved player of the match for the Knights. I went 2 points. Tyson Frizzell. I thought he was again really solid. Made quite a few meters as well, and he's just he's just a stabilizer in our forward pack. The other guys feel really comfortable when he's there, and I love having him in that team. And he deserved these 2 points. Dylan Lucas, he got 1 point. He's just been really solid all season, really. He's been starting, he's been on the bench, he's been all over the shop, but he just continues to put in solid performances. So he gets my 1 point.
Okay, well, I wasn't too far off you. I've got Best there for 3, and 235 meters. I'm pretty sure is what he ran, and definitely some good attacking plays. And he needs to work on his draw pass, but he still gets our 3 points. So 2 points to Jackson Hastings. I thought he's controlling the team a little bit more. He's got a bit more, I guess, Ponga's out now, and he's getting his combination with Gamble right. And even when Crossland comes in there, that gives him an opportunity to take a bit more control. And I thought he played pretty steady and steered team around well, and helped us get the win. So he gets 2. Had a good influence on the overall outcome of the match. And I thought, Tyson Frizzell was very solid in his comeback match. And I particularly like his straight runs when he was in the middle. Maybe that's a sign of things going forward, because we've got Lucas and KPP, who could easily be our starting back rowers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's have a look at the Player of the Year ladder. We've got Kalen Ponga on 17 points. Bradman Best shoots up to second on 15. KPP down to third position in 13. Then we've got Dane Gagai on 9. On 8 points, we've got Tyson Frizzell, Adam Elliott, Jacob Safidi. Jacob's on 6. And then we've got Phoenix Crossland on 6, Jackson Hastings on 5. And then there's a bunch of other guys from there. So as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube live. Let's get into the NRL adjusted ladder. So the Knights have shot up to 9th position on the ladder. We've had 5 wins and 5 losses. And as we mentioned, we're going into round 11. So we're aiming to get in front here. If we can go into the bye with 6 wins and 5 losses, that would be a really good result. And if we have a look at the ladder itself, we've got the Sharks, the Panthers, the Storm, all on 7 wins. And they've also, all 3 of those teams have had a bye. So they've also got a match up their sleeve. So they are the standout teams to start the season. We've played one of them and beat them, Storm, when they had their injuries in the halves, but they also had a pretty strong full-strength rating that match. So we definitely aimed up there. We also beat the Dolphins, who are in 4th place and in the top 4. Then we've got the Roosters, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Sea Eagles rounding out the top 8. Eagles on a bit of a down, and I'd say the Raiders are as well. But having a look at this ladder, James, if you had to say, who's going to make the top 8, who's going to challenge to make the 8, who's going to maybe drop out, who's going to come up, I'm looking at this and it's looking fairly predictable. But what are your thoughts before I share mine?
I don't know. There's some teams lower in the down who obviously have the ability to climb, but I can't see it happening. I think the Cowboys are shot. The Warriors are looking pretty ordinary. The Titans are, out of some of those lower teams, the Titans are probably the team playing the best. And they're 15th there, 16th, are they?
Well, out of all those teams under the Knights, so you've got Bulldogs, Dragons, Cowboys, Eels, Warriors, Tigers, Titans, Rabbitohs. I would 100% say the Titans are the team that I would want to play the least at the minute based on form. But with their injuries, I I'm not shying away from the match this week. It's a match that we should definitely win. In terms of where this ladder sits, we're in a really strong position here, especially if we go in six wins and 5 losses into a bye. And we're going to get into that in a second and show you that we have got less amounts of matches leading into 3 byes. So, yeah, it's looking pretty good. If we can get this match this week, we're in a really good position. So, in terms of the teams that may drop out of the 8, potentially the Eagles, potentially the Raiders, you could possibly say the Broncos without Reynolds. And there's been injuries amongst the other top sides, but they seem to be handling them. And who knows how the Dolphins are going to hold up. They faded last year. Are they going to do the same this year? But they play a style of footy that's pretty encouraging if you were a supporter of that team. And look, I think they're still a good chance to make the 8. But, it's very close. I would say that the Sea Eagles, the Raiders, and the Dolphins there are the teams that are in the top 8 that maybe could be replaced. And then if you look at the teams that could replace them, well, there's obviously Newcastle. We made the 8 last year. We finished 5th, and I guess we've shown that we've got some good gritty style footy, and we'd have to rate ourselves a good kind of 50-50 chance at the moment to make the top 8. I thought the Bulldogs are showing definitely signs that they're potentially a top 8 team, but I'd say they're a little bit off. I think we can get them. I don't see the Dragons as a top 8 team. There's definitely too many question marks over the Cowboys' consistency. The Eels, they're probably a team that could make the top 8 if Moses comes back. And
yeah, that's the question. When he comes back.
So the Eels, and look, if the Warriors get their shit together, we know that they're a quality team. So I'm expecting out of those teams there, the challenge for the top 8, I would probably say Warriors, Eels, and Knights, the most likely. Hopefully the Knights. Yeah. So look, cool. That's a look at the ladder now after 10 rounds, and now we're going to look quickly at our pass or fail for the season. So we've won 5, we've lost 5. We got up over the Tigers 20-14. Out of all the matches we've had 10, I've ranked our performance out of 7 out of 10 at 70%. I think we've aimed up and played really well 7 times out of 10. And I thought there was 3 matches where we didn't turn up and we didn't play well. So overall, 7 out of 10, and we're 5 wins out of 10. We lost Ponga, and I think there's 2 matches there that were short. So if we go back to the ladder, if we won 2 more matches, we're in the top 4 and amongst those teams with 7 wins. That's how close this competition is. And we've been over this. We've been over this in previous weeks. The 3 matches that the 2 matches that we could have won easily is the Cowboys match that we went down to by 1 point, and the Roosters match when we had some pretty hopeless ref calls go against us. And they're 2 games. And look, I still think we should have beat the Raiders if we turned up and played a more conservative style of play. So you're looking at 2 or 3 wins there. But, how far are we off being on the top of the ladder? Not very far. That's where it's at after 10 rounds. Now let's have a look at the run home. So far we've gone. This is looking at round 11 to 16, so it includes this week and up to round 16. So we've got basically out of 4 matches here, we've got 2 byes and 4 games. So we've got some rest coming up. We don't have too many injuries in the side. Obviously, Gamble and Ponga, 2 key spine players now with injuries. But I think we can cover those. As we've shown, we can cover Ponga, and we've got some interesting team news coming up in the teams list, so stay tuned for that. Be interesting to see whether Armstrong keeps his fullback position this week. But what are your thoughts there, James, in terms of if we get up over the Titans this week and we go in 6 for 5, and then we've got a bye, and then we've got 3 matches here. So we play the Bulldogs at home, we play the Storm away, and we play the Knights. Sorry, we played the Panthers at home. So we've got 2 home games, 1 away game during the Origin period. And just to let you know, in terms of the Origin us being affected in Origin period by players being out or playing after backing up from Origin, it's only the Bulldogs game and also the Storm game. So the Bulldogs match is a match that we won't have Origin players that if they get selected, and the Storm match is a match. Is it the Storm? It's either the Storm or the Panthers. Sorry, I just it slipped me here. It's one of those two matches. I'm pretty sure it's a Storm game, and we'll have access to Origin players if they can back up. I'm pretty sure that's the Sunday game. Yeah, so it is the Storm game. So what are your thoughts there? We've got 2 home games. Who knows who's going to be in and out of Origin, but there's a really good opportunity here because also the Storm and Bulldogs, Storm, and Panthers will all be affected by Origin selections as well.
Yeah, I mean, so we've got the bye there. We can 100% beat the Doggies at home. I'd say we're probably favourites against them at home. It's always a tough ask to go down to Melbourne against any Melbourne team, whether they got their rep players in or not. But we'd take confidence out of that victory that we beat them earlier in the year down 100%. At Amy Park. Panthers, I don't think we've got a good record against the Panthers or no one has really at the moment. It's going to be tough, but it's a home game and it'll be packed out, and you never know what can happen.
Well, we saw what happened last year. We should have won that match against the Panthers, and Cleary won't be playing at it. I'm pretty sure Cleary won't be playing that match. So, it's a bit away.
If we can win 2 out of those 3 games, we'll be doing well.
If we win 2 out of those 3, which is their home games, that's great. And then if we won 2 out of 3, where does that leave us? We'll be on 8 wins and 6 losses going into another bye. Now that'd
be great.
8 and 6 going into another bye. God, you're starting to think, okay, well, when does Ponga come back?
Well, exactly right. You can start thinking about that because a couple of weeks back it was that was miles away. But
how long has he been out for now? He's been out for 3 matches, right? So you've got another 6 years. So that's 9, right? There's 9 weeks. So you don't potentially a 12-week injury.
Yeah.
And we did say before, if the Knights are playing well and in contention, he's probably going to be, right now, if you're Ponga and you're looking at this and he's watching the United podcast, wouldn't he be getting keen? Do his rehab?
Oh, yeah, he'd be like, I'm firing up. I want to get back and play at the pointy end of the season and be pushing for his final spot and try.
Or is he sitting in Merriweather with his dad counting his money? What's he doing?
Well, yeah, what's going on, Andre? What's going on, mate?
Look, we're more of a serious show, the United podcast, but we have a little joke here and there. So I mean, it's obviously popped up in the media, and look, I back Kalen. He's given 100% to the club, and it's not his fault that he's had a tough run with concussions and injuries, and he doesn't want to be injured. You can tell he's quite passionate about what he does, and this is just bullshit. This media stuff. That's why we stay out of it.
Oh, when I read that article from NRL 360 or whatever, it was just complete rubbish. Like compared to when I actually read it, what they were banging on about was just pure let's stir shit, and I was just like, nah, look at that.
Yeah, and look, we'll give our show a bit of a plug, but at the end of the day, we want to create content that's actually meaningful and useful, and it's not a soap opera. I mean, if you're into the drama and stuff, don't tune into us.
No.
I mean, we all like to have a bit of a laugh and see a few memes and stuff, but yeah, that's just rubbish, isn't it? God, the rubbish that they come up with just to generate, views and likes and stuff. It's bullshit. So anyway, we'll move on from that. Look, I think at the end of the day, we've, looking at this, we've got a pretty good 6-week period coming up here, and look, if we can get this win this week when we're expected to win against a depleted Titans side, it's going to be a well-deserved rest, and we're going to be, who knows how the other teams, like there's been a lot of injuries across the board in other sides, and if we can get eight wins and 6 losses after that period, and we're only a few matches away from getting Ponga, who knows where we're going to end up? Are we going to potentially be pretty firm inside of the 8 and maybe challenge for a top 4 position? It's still not impossible.
Definitely not. The boys should be all fired up for this. Looking at the next 6 weeks or whatever, there's, they should be like real in the thick of it. It's it's a defining part of the year, really. This section we're running into.
100%. And the good thing that I like is that O'Brien knows this. He brought this up in the conference, and he knows that it's been a long period, and he knows that they've got extra buyers coming up. So that gives me a little bit of confidence that they're timing their run. So I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, it's halfway. We've got half time. Oranges. Let's run into a message from our season sponsor, MB Optimal Oral Care. MB Optimal Oral Care are our season sponsor of the Knighthood podcast. They have a range of zero plastic oral care products that are best for you and best for the planet. You can check out their full range of products via Chemist Warehouse online. Find the link in the description. Thanks, MBOOC, for sponsoring the Knighthood podcast for the 2024 season. If you're in Sydney and you're around Bondi Junction, MB have expanded into some retail stores there. They're in Terry White Pharmacy, Bondi Junction, Priceline Pharmacy, Bondi Junction, and also Mr. Vitamin, Bondi Junction. So if you want to go in and see the products in the flesh, go and check them out. Also, you can get them online at Chemist Warehouse. Search MBOOC and rethink your oral health today with MBOOC. Check them out today. Okay, James, let's get into injuries and suspensions for round 11. The Knights, we'll get into the teams list in a second, but there's 3 players there that definitely won't play. Daniel Safita, Kalen Ponga, Tyson Gamble. Armstrong is, I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll have a look at the team list in a minute, but he's a chance that he may not play. And then you've got Jacob Safiti. I think he will come back from injury and replace Daniel. Our full strength rating is 82%. So just keep these things in mind. And then Titans are at a full strength rating of 71% and some pretty glaring outs here. Kieran Foran, AJ Brimson, Jaden Campbell is still out. Tanner Boyd, another halves player, is out. So their spine is decimated. Philip Sammy, pretty handy outside back, is out. None of these players are going to play. Tino is out. And Harley Smith Shields, I don't know much about him, but he's out too. So that's where it stands. Let's get a look at the teams list here. So I'm going to do what you suggested, James. I'm going to jump onto NRL.com where we get this information.
I've got it up here, ready to roll.
Oh, well, mate, you get into it. You crack into it. Run us through the backs and the teams list here.
All right. For the Titans, we have Keanu Kinney at fullback. We have Lofty Khan Pereira on the wing with Brian Kelly and Aaron Schopp as the centers. The other winger for the Titans is Jojo Fafita. 5'8", Chris Randall, and Sam Verrills at halfback. And for the Knights backs, we have David Armstrong, who has been named. A bit of a cloud over him, though. Winger Anari Tuala, possible, yeah. Dane Gagai and Bradman Best playing great footy in the centres, those guys. Greg Marzhew on the wing. Jack Cogger comes in for the injured Tyson Gamble, and Jackson Hastings at halfback.
Okay, well, look, it's a decimated spine for the Titans, and we should be, champing at the bit to get into them. But yeah, I'm just wary. It doesn't mean that we're not going to go out and give it to them, but I'm pretty wary at this stage, and yeah, we've raised some of the points why. I think, but looking at the back line, we're pretty settled. I think Cogger, he can come in and do a job. People have been questioning his defense, but I remember his stats when he was actually playing. He wasn't missing too many tackles, so I don't think he's really much of a liability in defense. But I mean, we'll see. The fact that he's a bit nippier and faster, that actually may play to our advantage in a match like this, where we think that if you're Des Hasler, you're not going to try and take us on and play the style of footy that we've been winning 3 weeks in a row. Even though I think the Titans have been trying to play a higher completion, more defensive focused style of play. This week is not the week that you should be trying to match the Knights in that same style. I think if they do that, then we'll definitely win. We'll grind it out. But if they come and roll the dice, then we might be in trouble, especially if we don't turn up.
Yeah, and they've got some dangerous backs still, the Titans.
Yeah.
You've still got Cam Pereira as a good winger. Brian
Yeah.
Kelly, he's been in really great form in the centres. And
Yeah.
Fafita's really good as well. So, they've got some dangerous players still.
And Shoop as well. I've seen him play some good matches back there in the day with the Bulldogs, I think, as well.
That's right, yeah.
But looking at this, I mean, come on, Chris Randall, ex-Knights player, ex-hooker, and you've got two hookers there in the halves. Like, you wouldn't even necessarily see that in the New South Wales Cup. Let's face it. I mean, you'd be
wouldn't
pretty
expect much
worried.
from their kicking
Okay,
game.
so I mean, put it another way: if we had Brayley and Crossland in the halves, how would we be feeling going into this match?
I don't know. I mean, I know Phoenix can play that position, so probably a bit better. But
Brayley,
it's
the same as looking at Verrills kind of like at NRL level against a player like Jackson Hastings and Jack Cocker with a point to prove.
Kicking game will be the big thing as well, wouldn't it? The kicking game. Those guys wouldn't be kicking a lot during.
Spot on. And can Kimmy kick it? Not sure about that. We've got we have a clear edge here in the backs. I did hear a whisper that maybe Bradman Best has twinged a hammy, so there's a chance that we may not see him in the starting side. And David Armstrong's coming off a concussion, and we'll get to it because Fletcher Sharp's been named in the 23-man squad, I think it is, isn't it? So there's a chance that Sharp may come into this, and he's the preferred choice at fullback as replacement for Ponga. So there's some uncertainty around the back selections here moving forward. Let's get into the forwards, mate.
All right. For the Titans, we've got Mo Fodawaker, one of the props, Aaron Clark at hooker with Jamin Jolloff, the other front rower, David Fafita and Bo Firma, the back row, with Cleese Haas at lock. Haven't really seen much of Cleese Haas. For the Knights, we have Jacob Saifidi and Leo Thompson. I'm hoping for a big game from Leo Thompson. I feel he's been a bit down lately. Hasn't really been getting a lot of meters and stuff, so I want to see a big game from him. Jade Brayley playing really solid at hooker, exceeding my expectations this year, that's for sure. In the back row, we have Tyson Rizdell and Dylan Lucas with the Kettle, Adam Elliott at
Kettle.
lock.
Kettle was a bit quiet last week.
He was actually.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a shocker, though. He was just, but he was a bit...
It wasn't a shocker. He was a bit lukewarm.
Yeah.
He wasn't making... What's the noise that the kettle makes? The whistle?
That little whistle noise.
There's no whistle for the kettle last week.
He wasn't steaming. Yeah. On the bench, we what are your thoughts of the forwards there?
Oh, look, pretty consistent in the forwards here for the Knights. DSAF's out, JSAF's straight back in. Brayley's been really consistent. I agree on Thompson. I thought he's been good without being great. And our back row and Locke, Elliott's, he's pretty consistent. Overall, yeah. I mean, I also think the Titans, they've got a pack there to match us on paper.
Fodawaker's good.
Yeah. No, look, they could definitely turn up and match us. So we've got to be real careful. I don't think we have too much of a massive edge there, but we have a slight edge. Okay, let's go through the interchange.
Yeah, for the Titans, we have Keenan Palacia, Isaac Liu, Josiah Pahaluhu, we'll go with that, and Joe Stimson. And for the Knights, we have at 14, Phoenix Crossland, Kai Pearce-Paul, Brody Jones. How good was his tackle on the weekend?
Yeah,
hustling Brody Jones.
Big bad Brody.
Just showing a lot of pace out there.
A knight in shining armor moment.
Yeah, reenacting the Darren Albert, Matt Sears tackle from 97 prelim.
Yeah, might be going a bit far there, but I mean, yeah, he's got a tackle accuracy of something like 95%. So probably one of the best defenders in the team. So that's why he's there. And yeah, great tackle.
And number 17, Jack Hetherington. So yeah, pretty good, solid bench there.
Got a swig of some water. All right. Pretty settled. Pretty
Yeah.
settled bench. Yeah, pretty settled bench. And the Titans, there's still some strong players there as well. And their full strength rating is 71% to us, our 82. So they're a bit under strength compared to us, especially in key positions. We probably got a slight edge there in the bench. There's definitely some good potential impact there from the Knights. KPP, maybe if it's a drier match, maybe we can see some more offloading. He's got a bit of offloading in him, so maybe if we have a bit of a grinding start for 20 minutes and these players come on and we play a bit more ab-lib, that's what I would like to see, and that's what we've potentially got there on our bench in the change. Let's go through the reserves.
Yeah, for the Titans, we've got Tom Weaver, Tony Francis,
Tom Weaver. That's a good name, isn't it? The Weaver.
Yeah, Tom Weaver, Tony Francis, Jacob, Alec, Weinecker. We'll go with that. And oh man, help me out with this one.
I can't even see it, man.
Isaac
just have a crack.
Malawi. That's obviously a relative of Big Tino. Maybe not. Sorry if I've just assumed that. And Jalen de Groot. There's no picture of him here on NRL.com. So
de Groot or de Root? Which one? I can't see.
De Groot.
De Groot. All right, De Groot.
I saw what you did there. For the Knights, we've got Matt Croker, Jed Cartwright, Christian Mapalungi, Thomas Cant, and Fletcher Sharp coming into the
there he is, Fletcher Sharp. What an exciting prospect! And let's talk about it. Is he going to play? Is he going to replace Armstrong? Would you replace? He played last week. He played Reggie's, I think. So he's had 2 matches back, one through flag, one through reserve grade. He's been named there. So, and he was the first choice. So who would you pick? Have you seen enough from Armstrong to keep Fletcher Sharp out of the side, or would you run with Fletcher Sharp because he was the head on the pecking order before these 2 games Armstrong's played?
Yeah, that's true. I don't think David has done anything to warrant not having his position. But yeah, like start of the year, I thought Fletcher Sharp was looking great, especially in the trials and stuff. But that's not really an answer, is it? But no, I'd probably stick with Armstrong, to be honest. But because I've been liking what he's been doing.
I made a comment on X and I called him Mini Ponga. Like he's a perfect replacement for Ponga. Even he's a whippet. He's a lightweight. He's 82 kilos, and I think Ponga's 91. So he's lacks probably like close to 10 kilos, and that's why he gets thrown around. But the space that this guy has because of his size and his speed, he really he's an X factor. He's very similar. I'm not saying he's Kalen Ponga. I'm saying he's mini Ponga. He's only played 2 NRL matches. He has a lot of upside, and he's well liked in the squad. I couldn't drop him. Especially, I'd like to see him on a dry track. I think he could really play very good footy in a dry match against in an open style match against the Titans, and maybe that's what we actually need. If we've got to go toe to toe and it turns into attacking style match and we don't have Armstrong, is Fletcher Sharp going to be able to do that in his debut?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think the more confident David Armstrong gets, the more we're going to have the confidence in, utilizing him in that role that we do with Ponga, that we use Ponga in, and sort of, be a bit more expansive with the ball and stuff like that. So in the next couple of weeks, I hope to see him really flourish, and that brings our attack forward,
As good as I think Sharp is, my call here is that Armstrong hopefully stays in the side as long as he's 100%. If he's not 100%, maybe that's a good reason to bring Fletcher Sharp in. But, Fletcher Sharp's also coming off an injury. So, look, I like Mini Ponga. Let's stick with Mini Ponga. Keep him there.
I'm with you.
Okay, so there's also a chance we might see Mapalungi come into the side here because he's there on the extended reserves, and there's that whisper about Best. I'm not sure how true that is. I haven't looked into it too much, and I don't know. There's a chance. What do you think of Mapalungi? He basically cooked his first tackle this season after coming back from a long-term injury, put his head in front of a player off a kickoff, and he's got a lot of potential. And look, he's a strike player. So against the Titans, if it gets into an attacking style of match, I'd be actually pretty keen to see him play. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I've only really seen him in that time when he did get knocked out, and that was against the Sharks right at the start of the year. I think it was at Gosford, and I mean, you've probably seen him a bit more, but obviously for him to be brought even into the equation, the coach is liking what he's seeing at the lower grades and training. So he's obviously
he's
doing
fast.
the right thing.
He's sharp. He's fast, and he's obviously a little bit inexperienced, going off his tackle side. But I just thought he was really G'd up. He just got too excited and made a
wanted to put a hit on.
Yeah, and didn't get it right. So, he's potentially a future centre for us. The Gay guys signed him for another year, but yeah,
we've also
I'd like to see Maps get a crack. So I definitely wouldn't be disappointed if he's there and we lose Best, because he could actually bring a bit of an X factor. But God, the form that Best is in last week, if he's fit and he plays and it gets into an attacking team style of game match against Titans, then that could be great for us too. See the beast, smashing blokes out, doing what he did last week and even doing it better.
And what's going on with Thomas Jenkins in the lower grades? Is he injured or is he?
Please. No,
to bring him up.
I haven't watched reserves, and I mentioned last week he made a critical error. I think when they lost, didn't help them win. They lost when they were in front. Off the Jenkins error, and then I didn't pay too much attention to Reggie's last week. I noted that they lost, and I noted that Fletcher Sharp played some serious minutes. And look, the player that's not here is Will Price. He's been overlooked again as well, and potentially there was an opportunity for him to come in and go in for Cogger, but no, hasn't happened.
Yeah, I'd like to see him at some point, but obviously if it's deserved, but he's got some raps on him, and I'd like to see him get his crack at some point.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to see him too, but at the end of the day, we don't see day in day out. We're not there at training, and we don't know what's going on culturally and all this kind of stuff. But I guess if Cogger fails this match, then definitely there'll be some pressure on for the next round.
Yeah.
All right. Let's now have a look at the referee and the weather. We've got Jared Sutton. We've got a win rate of 47% with him, and the Titans have a win rate of 41%. So, what are your thoughts on Sutton? Do you have a take on him?
To be honest, man, this year I'm not a huge fan of any of the refs. They've all sucked, and don't get me started on the bunker. Like, I just see the name
bad.
there, and
terrible.
Whenever I see the ref now, I'm just like, oh god. But so we'll just leave it at that. I won't bag them out. They do what they can, but yeah, the officiating.
Well, what's that game come to what's that game come to when you're almost allowed a triple player? Jeez.
Yeah, 100%. It's a joke.
Yeah, and look, there's not much consistency. Unfortunately, look, let's not get into it. I said try and stay out of going down that rabbit hole. No, we want to stay nice and calm tonight. We're right. We're 5 for 5. We're winning our bets. We're making some money. So let's stay calm tonight.
Yeah, don't talk about refs.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a slight edge there with the ref. And we're looking at a sunny 24 degrees here at Magic Round. And I think there's a bit of rain in the week. So maybe the pitch might not be 100% and might be a little bit sloppy. But I think that we're the third match up on Magic Round, so it shouldn't be too bad. But it's a bit of a funny ground. The drainage there, it looks a bit funny sometimes there, but is it would you call it a fast track, or is it fast or slow or dead, or what is it?
I don't know, but I think a slower track is going to help us. It's going to
slower track helps us. Yeah, if it's a fast track, then that plays into the Titans' hand.
And I mean, what game are we in the Magic Round? I forgot to look at the.
I think we're the third. We're the third. I'll confirm that now.
Yeah, because if you're playing one of the last games, it's all going to be all chopped off if it's wet and stuff. But
yeah, we're the third match.
Yeah, I think probably if it's a slow ground.
Just to confirm, there's 2 matches on the Friday evening. We've got the Raiders going up against the Bulldogs at 6, and that'll be an interesting match. And then we've got the Sea Eagles against the Broncos. That'll be also another interesting match. So, actually, looking at that, potentially you got the Raiders there. They're they're in the top 8 above us, and so are the Sea Eagles, and the Bulldogs are at our heels. But if the Bulldogs beat the Raiders and the Broncos beat the Sea Eagles, the Knights, if we win, we're in the top 8. So there you go.
We're up.
You heard it here first on the United podcast.
Bring it on.
I didn't look at that, but that's the situation. If we win Magic Round and those 2 games go our way, we are in the top 8 after 11 rounds of the 2024 NRL season. Okay, so yeah, third match in. It will be a little bit wet leading up to it, but hopefully the ground drains out. But I'm not predicting a fast track. It won't dry out in time. It might just be a good track. All right. Got some points in the final analysis here. So we've got a full strength rating of 82% compared to there's Titan 71. The Titan side's decimated basically in the spine, and we've also got 2 spine members out, so we're not like completely smashing them there in the spine. But I think there's a big risk of complacency in this match, and I think look, the players should be up for it coming into Magic Round and knowing that there's a bye coming up. But I remember last year against the Eels, I actually went and watched it here in Sydney. We lost against the Eels. We got flogged before going into the bye, and that was before they were all going to Bali story, remember?
I remember that, yeah. We were horrible that night. Really
horrible. Bad. Yeah.
Dummy half tries everywhere.
Yeah, and we're also coming in off a run of a lot of matches. So we've played 10 in a row. So maybe that's going to take the edge off us just a little bit. But you'd hope that the fact that the Titans decimated an injury and it's Magic Round, we missed Magic Round last year. We should be able to get up for it. So these are things to consider that definitely put a little bit of doubt in my mind in terms of our final analysis. And I think, we've won 3 in a row. We're building confidence, but also the Titans have had a good run for at least the last sort of 4 weeks, and the results are starting to go their way. And I mentioned they are putting an effort in on a focus on completions and defense, and that's paying off for them in their performances. And they're going to turn up here with a similar mindset. Potentially, Des is going to go for a bit more of attacking style of match here. Might let the reins off. So if that happens, and if the Titans get out to an early lead, I think there's a big chance that they could upset us. That's my final take. And yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts, James?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty similar to what I think. Really, it's more. I don't think we have a lot of points in us at the moment. We're not playing a style of footy that's sort of conducive to scoring a lot of points. So if we can control the game the way we want to control it, it's all well and good. But the Titans are pretty unpredictable sometimes, and if Des comes out and goes, "Hey, boys, throw it around," rattle them a bit, spin it off the kickoff, it'll be interesting to see if the Knights can handle that, because they've been sort of used to a pretty tight forward, game lately. So we'll see what happens.
I think I'm really concerned that this could happen, and it's a match that we should win, and we have come into matches that there is something in this side that's a little bit complacent. There's some complacency there, and even last week I think they underestimated the Tigers a little bit, and the coach even said it. So it's there in the players, and I don't think that just leaves in a week. I don't know. It's pretty on paper. We should be winning this, and we should be winning at 13 plus. But I don't think it's that black and white. I think that's my final analysis. Now, let's get into our season betting tally, James. Brought to you by our preferred betting supplier, Top Sport. Tristan Merlan runs the company. They're a good gaming company, and if you're going to have a bet, have it with Toppy. So. Look, I'll get into this. I'm really happy. My aim for the season is to be at a 25% profit, and that's exactly where we sit right now. Last week, I landed my head-to-head bet prediction, and I also landed a live bet. Things went the way that I wanted it to. If I look at the whole season, it's been challenging. There was those matches there when the Roosters match and then the Bulldogs match and things were it was a crossroads, and this hasn't been easy to get this into a profit. I know a lot of other tipsters are not going so well this year. It's been a hard season, so for us to be performing at that level, at a 25% return on investment, our strike rate is 69%, 9 wins, 4 losses. If you're betting $100 each match, you would have made a $325 profit off our tips, and our average winning odds is $1.81. We're 2-1, so 2 wins, 1 loss on live bet, 66%. So I don't bet live as much, but if I get a good read and feel for things, I do announce it live on X. So really happy with this. At the end of the day, the Knighthood podcast is here because we're passionate about the Knights. We know the club and the side really well. We're 2 Novocastrians. I like to have a punt, and I like to take money from the bookies. And there it is. If you follow our tips this year and stay on the right track and do this process methodically, week in, week out, like we have, we've been able to make some good decisions, even though we've had a bit of adversity, and there we are. So James is the novice. It's his first year really doing something like this. It's my first year doing it publicly. I've been doing it a lot longer than that. But there was when the Knights went through that sort of downturn, we went through our betting mythology, which I'll just quick flick it over. And so we've got a betting formula, which is follow a system of selection, make a call, stick to it, allocate staking evenly, measure results, constant improvement, and there's rules. So never bet more than you can afford to lose, never chase your losses, focus on long-term, not the moment. And if you can't control it, quit it. So basically we slowed down. I gave you a little bit of advice there when things were kind of a bit rocky. Don't feel like you got to chase your losses. That's the last thing you want to do when you're losing. So better to go a bit slower and work your way out of it. Don't try and take the easy way out. And that's what you've done here. And you've landed a couple of bets in a row now. So you've actually turned a loss into a win, and you're up to 13% profit on turnover. So that's great. And even though your strike rate's not that great at 40%, 4 wins and 6 losses, your average winning odds is pretty high at 255. So, mate, how are you feeling about that? What are your thoughts on your comeback?
Yeah, I mean, there was that week where I sat out because I wasn't feeling confident. And then
which is the Dolphins match.
Yeah. And then after that, because I saw the way they played in that game, and I was like, okay. Then I think it was the Warriors.
Yep.
I was really, I was up for that one, and I probably
you felt confident there. Yep.
Yeah, and I went for the win. I should have went for the 1-12, and I didn't. I would have won a bit more, but
you stuck to your guns. That was good. You got to stick to your guns. That's what we say. Make a decision and stick to it. So you follow the rules.
But again, against the Tigers this week that's just gone, I was confident the way we were playing, and it came through. And I didn't do anything drastic. I just went with what I felt the way the team was going, and it paid off, and I got myself out of a bit of a hole there.
You did. So well done, mate. Yeah. It's a good effort for the rookie. Mate, hats off to James this week. He's done a great job.
Cheers,
he's followed the system, and he's managed to get himself in the black, and that's what we're all about, taking the money from the bookies. So look, really happy here at 25%, and we're going to move into, I guess, where things are sitting. Give me a sec here. We'll get on to the next slide. So I've made a bit of a slide up here. I won't spend too much time on it, but essentially these are my bets for the year. This is what has made a 25% return on investment. I lost the first match against the Raiders head-to-head at $1.40. Then actually backed the Cowboys in the second match after some red flags I saw. I don't like to back against the Knights, but took the Cowboys there head-to-head. Then I came back and put a bet on Knights 1-12 against the Storm. The Warriors match, I backed the Warriors actually head-to-head over there in New Zealand. That one came out correct. And then we got on the bandwagon of the Knights. I was confident there against the Dragons, and we got that match up. We doubled up there. We also got a live bet, in-play bet. So we had 2 wins on that match. And then we had that terrible refereeing performance, and we just missed out there against the Roosters. So that's just one of those games that happened and through the year. And then I doubled down against the Bulldogs. I thought the Knights would respond after that, and I thought we were better than the Bulldogs. But then obviously Ponga got injured, and the team didn't respond. And Yeah, that was disappointing because I had a live bet on there. I thought things were going in the right direction, and then Ponga got injured, and that was just the end of it. So a bit of bad luck with injuries, and a bit of bad luck with the refs. So these are the type of things that can stuff up your bets, and that's what happened there. And first round as well is also not a great time to bet because you really know what to expect from a team first round coming in off trials. But since then, we've got a win up against the Dolphins, the Warriors, and also the Tigers. And I doubled down on the Tigers bet and got a live bet home as well. So that's what it looks like to get a 25% return on investment, handle some adversity. Overall, got 9 wins out of 13 bets, and at 69%, I'm stoked with that. And yeah, feeling good about the rest of the year. I'm definitely not in a rush to try and get excited and build on that. I want to try and maintain around that level. If I can make more, great, but definitely not expecting to make better than 25%. That's an outstanding result from my point of view. I'll take that any day of the week in 10 weeks. Okay, we've been over the formula. Let's have a look at the week's odds from Top Sport. We've got the Knights to beat the Titans at $1.48, Titans to beat the Knights at $2.65. We've got Knights at the line, -6.5 at $1.90. Knights 1 to 12, 3.20. Knights 13 plus. This is the time of the night, James, or you make a decision, and those odds for 13 plus $2.59. Are you having a bet this week? You sitting on the sidelines? What's your take? What's your bet?
I'm incredibly nervous about this game. So I've been thinking about it, Sabo. I've decided to not have a bet this week. I'm going to sit it out.
Okay.
Yep.
I think
if I
that's
was
a good
bet,
call.
Yeah, if I can't bet against the Knights, for some reason I'm leaning towards the Titans. But yeah, I'm going to sit out.
If I was going to bet against the Knights, I'd be wanting to get better odds than 265. That's my take. I'd be looking, if I could get the Titans at $3 and I was a gambler, I'd be taking it. But I'm not a gambler. I used to be, and I decided to turn betting into a business and to take a methodical kind of approach towards sports punting, and it's something that I enjoy, and it's something that's profitable now for me. So at the end of the day, I'm looking at this match, and I also feel like this is a danger game for the Knights. It's a match that we should win, but considering my position at the moment at 25% return on investment, I'm actually not going to place a bet at this stage. It may be a live bet leading up to the match. I will have a look at the teams list. I'll get a feel for this a bit more as the week goes on. I don't like $1.48 for the Knights. I think that's short. I think they deserve to be around that level, but that's a nervous $1.48 from my point of view. I was way more confident against the Tigers than what I am this week because of some factors that we've discussed on the pod tonight. So tune into X 1 hour before the match on Saturday. And if I'm going to make a bet pre-match, I'll let you know. And if I'm going to make a bet live, I'll also let you know as well. So they're the two options. Most likely we'll sit out of a pre-match bet, but I'm not 100%. It's going to depend on what I see in the warm-up and what happens with the teams and just the general, my instincts. So we'll wait and see what happens there. If it looks like the Knights are off to a good start and we get ahead, I might run with a live bet. But most likely this week I'm going to sit out. I don't want to chase a win, and that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. So at this stage, I'm joining you, mate. I'm most likely going to be out as well, but we'll see. If I feel it, I'll go for it, and I'll let everyone know. Okay, so that, give me a second here. We'll just get off the full screen. That wraps us up, mate. Another good one tonight. Some good information. Good coming off another win. Three in a row. Are we going to make it 4? We'll find out on Saturday in Magic Round. Any final thoughts there, James? Sum things up.
It's just, to me, like it's a nervous feeling I got for this game. We should win it. I hope we do win it, but I can't sort of with any certainty say that we will win it. I was very confident last week. I don't have that feeling this week. So
what's interesting is it's interesting now that we're starting to gel a little bit with our takes. So I think that probably it's got something to do with the process that we're going through, and I think you've mentioned before that you're enjoying going through this process, and even though it's methodical, we're doing the same thing over and over every week. I mean that's what footy is, isn't it? You're playing a match every week, and you're playing the same game. So that's what we're doing here, and yeah, I think we're starting to get a bit of a take on a bit of a feel for it together, which is good.
Absolutely, mate. And every week I love doing this. I love talking about the Knights and learning more about the betting side of things. And as you said, I'm a bit of a novice, but yeah, it's been a good learning curve. And I'm looking forward to the footy this week. But yeah, just a tad nervous.
Yep. And if you guys are liking what you're seeing out there, please support us with a subscription. Turn on the notification bell so you get us there live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. We're also on Spotify and iTunes if you want to tune in on the audios. We're heavy on X. We don't do too much stuff on Facebook. We do a little bit of posting on some groups, and definitely during the game we make comments and we post live bets and pre-match bets. So if you want to get in on the tip before the match, definitely tune in on Twitter 1 hour before the match. And look, that pretty much wraps us up, mate. I think you summed things up really well. I'm not 100% confident going into this match. I've got a bit of I don't want to say a bad feeling, but I'm just I'm not in a position to say I'm confident, and we're both on the same kind of vibe. So let's hope the Knights coaching staff drill it down to the boys that this is not an easy 2 points, and we don't want to be looking back at this match thinking, geez, we should have won that match against the Titans on Magic Round.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. They really got to just go for it. No complacency. Just they've obviously got the bye coming up, and they've got to see the importance of that and not sort of be thinking about the holiday coming up already. They've got to put in the hard work and try and win this game.
Yep. Look, up the Knights, another great pod, and guess what? We got a holiday next week, so we won't be back next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, guys. So thanks to guys and girls. Thanks for the support. We appreciate it. And hopefully you guys are following the tips and making a profit, taking the money from the bookies and enjoying the Knights related content and getting, comprehensive oversight into the Knights 2024 NRL season. So thank you once again. And we look forward to the game. Fire up for Saturday. Let's go. We'll see you in 2 weeks, James.
Adios. See you, mate. Bye.